It's about that time.
Coming to you live every Wednesday night.
Fantasy start and sit advice with your boy PL.
And Michigan Mike, let's go.
We talking about
all things fantasy.
We talking about
all things fantasy.
We talking about
all things fantasy.
Mike and PL,
the Fantasy Show.
What's up, football family? Welcome to week 7 of the Fantasy Football Show. I am your co-host, Mr. PL Culture, and flanked to my right is my right-hand man, Mr. Michigan Mike, Michael Hassol.
What's up?
What's going on, Michigan Mike? Man, you ready to talk some fantasy football?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Okay, Mr. Mike, so let's get started. Well, actually, before we get started, man, check this out.
What's up?
So I get up this morning, I'm checking the stats like every fantasy player does on every Tuesday of every fantasy football season.
Yeah.
And I found some very interesting stat that I want to share with the people. Now, before I share this stat, I just want to lay the foundation that Mike is in my Tennessee league back home, and I'm in his Texas league down here in Dallas. Now, in both of those leagues, we are currently tied with the same record, and we're off by maybe a combined 10 points between the two teams with two completely different rosters, man. What say you?
Yeah, I saw that. I noticed that, and that's pretty eerie. That's pretty eerie, right?
That is pretty eerie. Great minds think alike. But this is not going to be about us today. We're going to make this about you, and we're here to bring you the.
Why can't it be about us?
Well, wait, we just did just then.
Right.
But we're going to make this about the injuries, Mike. I mean, the injury bug, man. Of all times to rear your ugly head, Mike. And he hit you hard, man?
Man, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was watching the games, and it wasn't just one single player. Because I draft about the same, but a lot of my leagues, I have different players. And like Victor Cruz out, Sproles out, Giovanni Bernard was like out. He'll come back, but man, to see those O's next on Tuesday morning, it was not a good feeling.
I mean, and on top of that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles, who especially are loaded with fantasy talent all across the board, and their defense is out on bye this week. But have no fear. I mean,
we are here.
All right, and we're going to get started. Now, if you're down a quarterback, and a lot of you guys and gals are down Nick Foles, you may want to take a look at Kirk Cousins this week, quarterback of the Washington Redskins. Now, I know if you're watching the games, you're seeing that the Redskins aren't winning, but he has averaged over 300 yards a game the last 3 weeks, Mike, and 5 total touchdowns, man.
Yeah, he's been slinging the ball, so that's good. I mean, pick him up. As far as fantasy, you don't care if he wins or not.
Right.
You're going for those fantasy points.
Now, as a Titans fan, I actually care if he wins this weekend, but he is playing a Tennessee defense that's given up over 340 yards a game through the air the last 3 games.
That is not good.
And the famous words of my co-host, that was actually pretty boo-boo of them.
Boo-boo indeed.
All right. Now, last week, I asked you about the quarterback situation in Arizona, and we talked about Drew Stanton, and we talked about the rookie Logan Thomas. Now, to our surprise, Carson Palmer come jumping out of the magic hat and got the start. Now, he wasn't bad. 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. One to Fitz, who you told the people to start. Good job by you. Mm-hmm. And one to Floyd, who was actually in your doghouse. Now, Mike, Carson Palmer is the starter, the franchise quote-unquote starter. Does his return to the lineup get Floyd out of your doghouse?
Man, that's hard, man, because this is the past couple, 4 weeks, they've named Michael Floyd as the number 1 receiver. And a lot of people don't realize is being the number one receiver is good and all, but then you're also getting the number 1 cornerback, which everyone has a number 1 cornerback that gets paid millions and millions of dollars to stop the number 1.
And a safety that's more than willing to help him over the top.
Definitely getting double teamed. You'll see that. Dez Bryant is getting average numbers for wide receiver fantasy points, but he's a beast.
He's a beast, right?
Yeah, so he's going to get him 14, 15 points every single game. But if you see the games, he's struggling to get those catches,
Okay, so is Floyd going to continue to struggle to get those catches? He has Oakland defense ahead of him this Sunday.
If I had Fitzgerald and Michael Floyd, I would still start Fitzgerald over him. But Michael Floyd is still a good wide receiver if you need to start him.
Right, you may be down Cooper, you may be down Macklin, but you may want to explore your roster before you make the move on Floyd this week. Now, there is a number 1 receiver that came back last week for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cecil Shorts. You want to put a office pool on how long this will last?
Yeah, right.
He was impressive last week against those said Titans. 103 yards receiving on 10 catches. This week he gets a Cleveland defense, Mike, that's giving up over 260 yards a game through the air. Safe pick?
Yes, I like the Cecil Shorts pick.
Right, he's a possession receiver, and Bortles is just getting better and better by the day. Now, in Baltimore, the running back situation post the Ray Rice deal has been pretty murky, but the last few weeks, Justin Forsett has kind of separated himself. Over 300 total yards and 2 TDs. Play the Falcons defense this week, Mike.
Yeah, start him.
Right, Shady McCoy's down this week, and the couple of side piece running backs in Tampa Bay. I'm not going to do them like that today. Now, you talked about Sproles earlier. Now, I mean, he would have been out this week on bye anyway. But if you're looking for someone in his mold, well, actually, if you listened to the show last week, you picked up Brandon Oliver and got you 100 yards and a touchdown, right?
Yep, definitely.
But
He got another double-digit points. He got like 22 points, I think, and most leagues. So yeah.
Okay, so let it be stated for the record, I just made it about Michigan Mike right there. We even?
Yeah, that's good.
Shall we proceed?
Yeah.
All right, so Amar Bradshaw, backup running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He's a poor man's version of Brandon Oliver. I mean, he's the backup, but he's leading the Indianapolis Colts in rushing. How does that happen, Trent Richardson? Mike?
Man, you want me to say it right?
No,
you
I'm
want to say it. Man,
We know who's the who cop in this duo.
Yeah. Everyone in their dog doesn't like Trent Richardson. So every time he seems to do something good, he ends up like fumbling on the goal line. So
I was very nervous about that fumbling. I was looking at you when you said that. Now, back to Bradshaw. Over 2 touchdowns, 196 total yards last 3 games. He is active in the pass game and the run game. I mean, this is a reach play, maybe for 12 and up leagues. But if you need a running back play, he has a great matchup against the Bengals, Mike. They're giving up over 140 yards a game rushing.
yeah, they're Cincinnati is more known for their secondary, not the front seven. So I would definitely start him.
Right. I mean, Cam Newton ran for 100 yards on him like he was in the SEC championship.
Man.
He opened up the shirt on him, man. I hadn't seen that
all season. I'll finish it for you.
Good job by you. Now, okay, you're down Victor Cruz, right?
Yep.
And I presume he was in your lineup, right?
Yes.
I know you've been looking at wide receivers, right?
Indeed.
All right, share one with the people.
All right. I got Andre Holmes, wide receiver of the Oakland Raiders.
The who?
Oakland Raiders.
The who?
The Oakland Raiders. The past 2 games, he has 20 targets, 9 receptions, 195 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, wow. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, so when I saw him out there, I said, pick. Who do you want to drop? Victor Cruz?
Sorry, Victor Cruz. Wow, that was cold, man. The man was just crying on the cart.
Yeah, I had to
72
drop him
hours ago?
as soon as I saw it.
That's why you're sitting up at the top of the leaderboard. Now, Mike, what are your games to watch this week?
All right, games to watch this week. I have Miami at Chicago. Watch that game. I sense that one's going to be a high-scoring game. Another one, New Orleans at Detroit. Another high-scoring game.
Yeah, plenty of firepower at QB.
Yes. And then I have San Francisco at Denver. A lot of firepower out there.
Yes,
I wouldn't
sir.
say much for the run game for both teams, but I would more look for wide receivers and quarterbacks.
All right.
So stay away from those running backs though.
All right.
And
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You know when you hear that buzzer, it's time for this week's And Mike, speaking of San Francisco running back, if you're an owner of Frank Gore this week, then you, my friend, are on Homer alert. Not only did he look a little old last Monday night in that dome, man, he looked a little old. But he gets a brutal matchup against a Denver defense that's surprisingly top 5 against the run, Mike. They're giving up less than 75 yards a game on the ground. Like you said, it should be a passing game. And Peyton Manning has a chance to break Brett Favre's record this week.
yeah, he will.
And the game is on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I was like, he will.
Right, he will. So it looks like a shootout will be in order, which will neutralize Mr. Frank Gore. So you may want to put him on your bench and check out one of the other RBs we just mentioned. Now, if you'd like to get any fantasy advice between now and game day, you can always reach me at PL Culture. That's at PLCOLTER. You can always reach Michigan Mike at
Michael Hasso, that's MICHAELJASSO.
Life is a Sport, so always play to win.
Go Blue.